The network marketing and direct sales industry is recognized by many to be the fastest growing business model in the world today. It is also the most controversial. Many people still have a negative reaction, claiming that many network marketing organizations are pyramid schemes. Yet in reality, the biggest pyramid scheme in the world is the traditional big business corporation, with one person at the top and all the workers below. Everyone who wants to be an entrepreneur should take a look at a network marketing business. Some of the biggest Fortune 500 companies, such as Citibank, Avon, Levi's, and Smith Barney, distribute their products through a network marketing or direct sales system. We are not members of any one network marketing or direct marketing business, but we do speak favorably of the industry. People who want to be entrepreneurs should consider joining one of these businesses before they quit their jobs. Why? Many of these companies provide essential sales, business building, and leadership skills not found anywhere else. One of the most valuable benefits from associating with a reputable organization is that it teaches the mindset as well as the courage required to become an entrepreneur. You will also become more familiar with the systems required to build a successful business. The entry fee is typically quite reasonable and the education can be priceless. To further explain the educational value of such types of business, we wrote a small book entitled The Business School, for people who like helping people. Warner Books. For more information on this book, please go to our website, www.richdad.com. If I were starting my entrepreneurial career all over again, I would start with a network marketing or direct sales business, not for the money but for the real-world business training I could receive, training similar to the type of training my rich dad gave me. Legal thieves. One of the more interesting discussions Mike and I had with Rich Dad involved the subject of entrepreneurs stealing from other entrepreneurs. Rich Dad used an accountant working for an accounting firm as an example. One day the accountant, who was an employee of the firm, resigned and started his own business with clients he met while an employee of the firm. In other words, the accountant walked out the firm's door, but took the business with him. Rich Dad said, "While this may not be illegal, it still is stealing. While this is one type of business design, it is definitely not the kind of entrepreneur he wanted his son and me to be." Creative entrepreneurs. The type of entrepreneur he wanted us to be was a creative entrepreneur like Thomas Edison, Walt Disney, or Steve Jobs. Rich Dad said, "It is easy to be a small entrepreneur, like a mom and pop sandwich shop. It is also relatively easy to be an entrepreneur in a trade or a profession, such as a plumber or dentist. Also it is easy to be a competitive entrepreneur, someone who sees a good idea, copies the idea, and then competes against the entrepreneur who created the idea." In the Rich Dad's Advisor's book Protecting Your Number One Asset, Warner Books, Michael Lecter refers to this type of competitor as spoilers and pirates. This is what happened to me when I pioneered the nylon and Velcro wallet business. Once we created the market and the awareness of this new product line, competitors came out of the woodwork and my little business was squashed. Of course I cannot blame them. I can only blame myself because once again, I designed the business poorly before there was a business. Even though I took a pounding, Rich Dad was happy that I was learning to be a creative entrepreneur, rather than a competitive one. He said, "Some entrepreneurs win by creating. Other entrepreneurs win by copying and competing." He also said, "The riskiest of all types of entrepreneur is the creative entrepreneur, also known as an innovator." Why is the creative entrepreneur the riskiest type to be? I asked. Because being creative means you are often a pioneer. It is easy to copy a successful and proven product. It is also less risky. If you learn to innovate, create, or invent your way to success, you are an entrepreneur creating new value rather than an entrepreneur who wins by copying. Public and private. The vast majority of businesses, large and small, are private companies. A large private company is often referred to as a closely held company. That generally means a company owned by just a few owners, and ownership interests are not available to the public at large. A public company is a company that sells shares of the business to the public at large, most often through stockbrokers and other licensed securities dealers. A public company sells its shares on a stock exchange like the New York Stock Exchange and operates under much more stringent rules than private companies. Rich Dad never formed a public company, yet he recommended that Mike and I create one, as part of our development as entrepreneurs. In 1996, at the same time we were forming the Rich Dad Company, I was also an investor and involved in forming 3 public companies. One company was created to explore for oil, one for gold, and one for silver. The oil company failed even though it struck oil, which is a story in itself. The gold and silver companies did find substantial amounts of the gold and silver they were looking for. Although the oil company failed, the gold and silver companies made the investors a lot of money. Working on developing the public companies was a great experience. As Rich Dad suggested, I learned a lot and became a better entrepreneur in the process. I found out that the rules are a lot tougher for a public company, that a public company is actually two different companies serving two different customers, the real customers and the investors, as well as serving two bosses, the board of directors and the government securities agency, such as the SEC, the Securities Exchange Commission. I also found out about tougher accounting standards and tougher reporting standards. When I was first starting out as an entrepreneur, Rich Dad said, the dream of many entrepreneurs is to see the company they formed listed on the stock exchange. Yet, after the Enron, Arthur Andersen, WorldCom, and Martha Stewart scandals, the rules became tighter and the compliance requirements much more complicated and expensive. The government was breathing down public companies' backs. Building a public company business wasn't as much fun as I had expected. Even though I learned a lot, made myself and our investors a lot of money, became a better entrepreneur, learned how to design a public company, and was glad I went through the learning process, I doubt if I will ever form a public company again. That type of business is for a different type of entrepreneur. I can make more money and have more fun in small, closely held private businesses. If you are interested in more information on the pros and cons of private businesses and public companies, we recommend the Rich Dad's Advisors book OPM, Other People's Money. By Michael Lecter, Warner Business Books, 2005. Can anyone be an entrepreneur? Rich Dad wanted his son and me to understand that anyone could be an entrepreneur. Being an entrepreneur was not that special. He did not want the idea of being an entrepreneur to go to our heads. He did not want us looking down on anyone or thinking we were better than other people if we became successful entrepreneurs.